This is a CAT 22 slot 2 RC, which is from the scientific, specifically the biology genre. Let's look at the questions first. All of the following are reasons for octopuses being misfits, except. That means 3 of these are given as reasons as to why octopuses are misfits. Whichever is not mentioned in the passage would be the right answer. So this is what I call a direct multiple question. The answer is probably given throughout the passage. However, if octopuses being misfits is something which is mentioned in just the one paragraph, we can actually solve it then and there. So we look out for octopuses being misfits. Which one of the following is not true about the camouflaging ability of cephalopods? That means whatever these cephalopods are, they are able to camouflage or somehow use color or other things to basically disguise or hide themselves. Now again, 3 of these would be given. Whichever is not given, whichever is not true, that becomes the right answer. So again, another direct multiple sort of question. Based on the passage, it can be inferred that camouflaging techniques in an octopus are most dissimilar to those in. Now this can be interpreted in 2 ways. Either the camouflaging techniques that octopuses use are similar to 3 of the 4 animals that are mentioned, in which case we just find whichever it's not similar to, or there might explicitly be something mentioned that octopuses are very different from, say, cuttlefish or sea snail, something like that, in which case that would be the answer. So we'll just probably look to solve this at the end of the passage, because we'll need to compare the octopus with all these animals. Based on the passage, we can infer that all of the following statements, if true, would weaken the camouflaging adeptness of cephalopods except. So this is all new information. We consider it to be true. Assuming that this is true, is it weakening the camouflaging ability that cephalopods have? Now we've been obviously seeing that the questions have a lot about cephalopods, octopus, camouflaging. So that's probably what the passage is about. So now let's start. As most of the questions are direct multiple questions and only the last one was an inferential question, we'll not prioritize taking a lot of notes. We'd rather focus on what information is mentioned in which paragraph, so that if needed, we can either try to solve some questions then and there, or we could come back to it at the end. So I would take very short notes here. You can even chuck taking notes altogether. So let's start with the passage now. Octopuses are misfits in their own extended families. They belong to the cephalopoda. Now the cephalopod name is already mentioned. So octopuses are cephalopods essentially, but they don't look like their cousins at all. So octopuses are misfits in their own extended family. So they are part of this particular group, cephalopoda, but they don't look like their cousins, which is essentially probably all the other animals, the other marine animals that will fall into the same class. Other mollusks include sea snails, sea slugs, bivalves. Most are shelled invertebrates with a dorsal foot. So all of these others, they have a shell, they don't have vertebra, invertebrate, and they have a dorsal foot. I'm not sure exactly what a dorsal foot is, but this is not a biology exam. We'll just assume they have 1 foot. Probably these are the things that octopuses don't have. Cephalopods are all arms and can be as tiny as 1 centimeter, as large as 30 feet. Some of them have brains the size of a walnut, which is large for an invertebrate. So all cephalopods, they have brains, they have arms. Octopuses, of course, we know have 8 arms. But there are differences between octopus and the rest of the cephalopods. So the others have shells, they have a dorsal foot, which probably octopuses don't have. It makes sense for these mollusks to have added protection in the form of a higher cognition. They don't have a shell covering them, and pretty much everything feeds on cephalopods, including animals. Now, these mollusks here has to be referring to octopuses and not all cephalopods. All cephalopods are probably mollusks. But here we are specifically speaking about the mollusks that don't have a shell covering them. But we know that most mollusks are shelled, whereas octopuses are the ones which are not like their cousins and they are not shelled. So that means that these brains essentially are with octopuses. So probably the reference to arms also is being made with octopuses, and that we anyway know that octopuses have 8 arms. But how did cephalopods manage to secure their own invisibility cloak? Cephalopods fire from multiple cylinders. To achieve this in varying degrees from species to species, there are 4 main catalysts. So one is they have a brain which is pretty big for their size. The second thing is they are somehow able to make themselves invisible. Obviously, they don't have a literal invisibility cloak. There's some form where, they are maybe camouflaging themselves, like we've learned from the question. Now, there are different ways in which this can happen. Firing from multiple cylinders means there are different types in which they are able to sort of make themselves invisible. And there are these 4 things which are mentioned. So I'll just take very short notes of what we've learned so far, and then we'll continue. Now, the next paragraph is all about chromatophores. So probably going forward, we are going to learn about how octopuses become invisible. So since we've already understood why octopuses are misfits in their own class, let's try to solve this question. If at all there's something which we haven't covered so far, we can leave it and come back to it later. So let's look at the options. The reasons for octopuses being misfits except, that means 3 of these would be given, whichever is not becomes the right choice. They have several arms. This is something which is mentioned. Cephalopods are all arms. So this is given, so we can eliminate it. They are consumed by humans and other animals. Now, pretty much everything feeds on cephalopods, including humans. So this is not a difference. Cephalopods are eaten. Octopuses are also eaten. So this is probably the right choice. But let's just verify the other 2 options. Do not possess an outer protective shell. This we know. The other mollusks are shelled, but octopuses aren't. So this again is a difference. Exhibit higher intelligence than other mollusks. This is also something which we had inferred. It's only these mollusks or octopuses which have a higher cognition, because they are the only ones that don't have a shell. So this is again something which is given as a difference. So this should be the right answer out here. If you're a little wary, you're not sure if you can solve it halfway, you can just solve it, mark the question for review, and just review it once you're done with the RC. But solving it in between will actually improve your accuracy and reduce the time taken. Now let's understand a little bit more about how octopuses become invisible. Chromatophores are organs on their bodies that contain pigment sacs, which have red, yellow, and brown pigment granules. So these chromatophores essentially have these colored pigments. They have a network of radial muscles, meaning muscles arranged in a circle radiating outwards. These are connected to the brain by a nerve. When the cephalopod wants to change color, the brain carries an electric impulse through the nerve to the muscles that expand outward, pulling open the sacs to display the colors on the skin. Why these 3 colors? Because these are the colors the light reflects at the depths they live in. The rest is absorbed before it reaches these depths. So now let's learn how octopuses become invisible. Chromatophores are organs on their bodies that contain pigment sacs, which have red, yellow, and brown pigment granules. Should you not know that pigments are colors, this makes it easy for us. So chromatophores are organs that octopuses have, which essentially have these 3 pigments. These sacs have a network of radial muscles, meaning muscles arranged in a circle radiating outwards. These are connected to the brain by a nerve. When the cephalopod wants to change color, the brain carries an electric impulse through the nerve to the muscles that expand outwards, pulling open the sacs to display the colors on the skin. Why these 3 colors? Because these are the colors the light reflects at the depths they live in. The rest is absorbed before it reaches those depths. So essentially these chromatophores are organs which have these 3 color pigments, red, yellow, and brown. Those are the only colors which are visible at those depths. The others have been absorbed. And whenever needed, the brain basically makes the radial muscles expand, which opens the sac, and so these colors come out. So this is the first way in which they are sort of camouflaging themselves. I'll just write CHR for chromatophores in short. And what they are doing is it contains 3 colors. Well, what about other colors? Cue the iridophores. Think of a second level of skin that has thin stacks of cells. These can reflect light back at different wavelengths. It's using the same properties that we've seen in hologram stickers or rainbows on puddles of oil. You move your head and you see a different color. The sticker isn't doing anything but reflecting light. It's your movement that's changing the appearance of the color. This property of holograms, oils, and other such surfaces is called iridescence. So the next thing which is there is this iridophores. And what this does is, this reflects other colors. So whatever color the octopus is, probably it's reflecting some different color. So this is another way in which they sort of disguising themselves or becoming invisible. Papillae are sections of the skin that can be deformed to make a texture bumpy. Even humans possess them, but cannot use them in the manner that cephalopods can. For instance, the use of these cells is how an octopus can wrap itself over a rock and appear jagged, or how a squid or cuttlefish can imitate the look of a coral reef by growing miniature towers on its skin. It actually matches the texture of the substrate it chooses. So what papillae are doing is, they are able to change the texture of the skin itself so that it matches whatever is around them. So if the octopus looks exactly the same as, let's say, the rock that it is around, any other marine animal would not realize also that an octopus is there. It will just think that it's part of that rock or whatever similar, whatever other thing is there. So papillae can essentially change its texture to match with the surface. Finally, the leucophores. According to a paper published in Nature, cuttlefish and octopuses possess an additional type of reflector cell called a leucophore. These are cells that scatter full spectrum light so that they appear white in a similar way that the polar bear's fur appears white. Leucophores will also reflect any filtered light shown on them. If the water appears blue at a certain depth, the octopuses and cuttlefish can appear blue. If the water appears green, they appear green, and so on and so forth. So these leucophores is another type of reflector cell, and what it does is it reflects light so that again the octopus or even the cuttlefish will look exactly the same as whatever color is around them. So it will reflect all the light back. So instead of some light being absorbed so that you can see me, for example, the octopus would not be seen in the same way. So all of the light would get reflected back and it will just look like there's nothing over there. There's just the water over there. So reflect the full spectrum of light again to match with the surroundings. So today we've learned a lot of facts about the octopus. We know that it's different from other mollusks. It's a mollusk itself. It has a brain that's pretty big for that size, and it's also able to make itself invisible or camouflage itself. So camouflages itself in 4 ways. One is it can actually give out these pigments, which are the colors which are seen. It can also reflect different colors so that as you change your angle, it looks different. And it can camouflage itself to match its texture or the color with the surroundings so that it just seems like it's not there at all. So now let's solve the remaining questions. Which one of the following statements is not true about the camouflaging ability of cephalopods? So luckily we've noted down everything about how cephalopods camouflage themselves. So let's try and see which one is not given here, and that would be the answer. Like I already said, if you want, you can avoid noting and you can also go back. We have 4 paragraphs where the camouflaging abilities are mentioned. You can always validate it with those, and in most cases the first sentence will actually help us to understand what exactly is happening with that particular organ. Cephalopods can blend into the color of their surroundings. This is the last thing which we learned, leucophores. They essentially can reflect full light so that they look exactly the color of the water around them. So this is something which is true. Since we are finding something which is not true, this is not our answer. Cephalopods can take on the color of their predator. Now we'll validate this once with the passage, but there's nothing mentioned about taking on the color of their predator. They can take on the color of or the texture of their surroundings, but not the color of the predator. So this is probably the right answer. Cephalopods can change their texture. This is what the papillae do. So we just discussed how it can look similar to a rock and all. So this is definitely given, so we can eliminate it. Cephalopods can change their color. This is true both with chromatophores and iridophores. Basically, either they can sort of like give out color, different color pigments, or they can also reflect back light at a different color. So this is also something which is mentioned, and going through the passage, you'll find that there's no mention of becoming the same color as their predator. It also does not seem to be a great strategy, but that's anyway, since it's not given, this would be the right answer. Based on the passage, it can be inferred that camouflaging techniques in an octopus are most dissimilar to those in. So we had a few examples of how their camouflaging technique is similar to some other animals. So we can just find those animals and eliminate those options. So here we are being told that even humans have papillae, but we are not really camouflaging ourselves. But squid and cuttlefish both also do the same thing as cephalopods or octopuses do. So squids is something which is mentioned, cuttlefish is something which is mentioned. So both of these are given in the passage and hence can get eliminated. Now in the next paragraph, we are being told that cuttlefish and octopuses produce this reflector cell. So cuttlefish we've already eliminated. We are also told that they appear white in a similar way that the polar bear's fur appears white. Now just because a polar bear is not a marine animal, that doesn't mean that a cephalopod cannot be similar to it. Since it's the same technique which is being used, we can definitely eliminate polar bears. Now the only context in which sea snails are mentioned is to help us understand that octopuses are not like them. Right? They don't look like their cousins, and these are sea snails, sea slugs and bivalves. So sea snails has to be our answer. This itself gives us a big hint, or we can directly just eliminate the other options and go for it as well. Now the last question, it's an inferential one. Based on the passage, we can infer that all the following statements, if true. So this is all going to be new information. It need not be in line with the passage at all. We just assume that it's true. So if true, all the following would weaken the camouflaging adeptness of cephalopods except. So 3 of these are going to weaken. whichever does not, that becomes the right answer. So we know there are 4 ways in which cephalopods camouflage themselves. We'll try to match these with each of the 4 ways and see if any one of these is weakening any one of these abilities. If that does, we eliminate it. Whatever is not weakening becomes the right answer. The temperature of water at the depths at which cephalopods reside renders the transmission of neural signals difficult. So neural signals are nerve signals if they are difficult. Now here we've been told that around the chromatophores, there's a network of radial muscles which are connected to the brain by a nerve. And when the cephalopod wants to change color, the brain carries an electrical impulse through the nerve to the muscles that expand outwards, pulling open these sacs to display the colors on the skin. So if the temperature is so cold that the brain is not able to send a nerve signal to these radial muscles, the sacs themselves would not be open. So this is something which is definitely going to weaken their camouflaging ability. The hydrostatic pressure at the depths at which cephalopods reside renders radial muscle movements difficult. Now in the first one, we were told that the brain cannot send a signal. Now in the second one, if the radial muscles themselves do not move, then again the same thing will happen, because if they cannot expand, the color itself won't be displayed. So this is also definitely weakening the camouflaging adeptness or ability. The number of chromatophores in cephalopods is half the number of iridophores and leucophores. Now, if this is the case, this does not seem to really be weakening their camouflaging ability. It could be that a smaller number of pigment sacs is sufficient. And since these are skin cells or other cells, it could be that a lot more are required. So since chromatophores are organs, there could very well be a smaller number of organs than the iridophores or even the leucophores. So at present, this does not seem like it's going to weaken. So we'll hold this option. We'll just validate the fourth one. If that's also weakening, this becomes the correct choice. Light reflects the colors red, green and yellow at the depths at which cephalopods reside. Now we know that the chromatophores essentially contain red, yellow and brown. So instead of brown, if light at that level or at that depth is actually green, then the brown pigment is not going to help them. So 2 of the colors are fine, but the third color would not actually be useful. So this is again something which would weaken the camouflaging through the chromatophores. So we can eliminate this option as well, and we'll go for the third option here. So that's it for this RC, and I'll see you in the next one.